afternoon. Thank you very much, Christiane and Felipe, for the kind invitation to be with you this afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank Abecip for the important contribution to our activities. Abecip is helping us to be a real global organization. We have members all over in the world, from Singapore, from South Korea, from Japan, and having a solid contribution from South America and from Abecip is extremely important for us. Nowadays, with the crisis in front of us, we need to be global. We need to join forces as much as we can, and having all the Brazilian banks together will help us to design a better global strategy to face this global crisis. The crisis that I'm speaking about is not only COVID. COVID is only a short-term crisis. The real challenge in front of us is manage climate changes. Our country, Europe, is trying to put a lot of leadership to try to convince states, stakeholders, and citizens that that's the challenge for the future of our kids, of our next generations. In Europe, a few weeks ago, the European Commission published a very important document, which is called the Renovation Wave. It's a new strategy that the European Commission is putting in place to mobilize public authorities and private stakeholders towards renovating the building stocks in Europe. This has been designed with a global perspective, and we, as a European Mortgage Federation and European Covered Bond Council, we want to mobilize all our global friends around the world. We have established a new initiative, which is called Energy Efficiency Mortgage Initiative, which is a pillar to design a new strategy for the mortgage market and transform our banks in a really fintech, in a really using new blockchain technological instrument to position the banks in a new ecosystem. Why this? Because we think that the mortgage banks are at the center of the opportunity to change this world. We are in between consumer and investors. We are the ones who can help the private citizens to make the renovation in their house. If we convince a consumer to renovate their house to be more energy efficient, we will of course help a family to be more resilient to a crisis, but we will also improve the quality of the asset of the mortgage of this family, and we will reduce the probability of default of this borrower. So from a financial stability point of view, we will make our financial services environment much more secure and much more stable. That's why we are working in close contact with all our central banks and the European Central Bank, because we believe that, yes, energy efficiency can be also a financial stability story. And if it's a financial stability story, we need to address this issue at the level of the Basel Committee, where the international community should ponderate capital charges for banks in a new way. This is what we are putting on the table of the challenge for today and tomorrow. Our consumers are changing their perception of the house. Since months, we are all blocked in our houses. Europe is now in a new lockdown. Unfortunately, we are having the second wave of COVID, which is very strong. We are all assessing our space in a new way. And most probably, as we see from the first numbers, people are investing more. We see more renovation loans. We see more mortgages for retrofitting the houses. So our market should be ready. Our market should be ready, and we should work on three big work streams. The first one is digitalization. We need to improve the digitalization of our business line in producing data, in producing quick IT response for consumer. In the last few months, we discovered that it's possible to open a bank account in 20 minutes, to close a mortgage and sign a mortgage online after 10 minutes of a Zoom meeting with our bank. This is a revolution which is changing the financial behavior of consumer. We cannot be passive. We need to discuss. We need to understand what is happening. and we need to work together. That's why we appreciate very much the Abecip contribution in our activities. The second major challenge is sustainability. In Europe, the European Commission has decided to put down a new legislative text called taxonomy, which is for the first time making a list of green assets in Europe and is giving clear indication to the investors where they have to invest their money, what is green and what is not green. So it's very important for our banks to be very close to this discussion. I think that Europe is simply the first in line, but all the other countries will follow. We are discussing with Japan, with Singapore, with South Korea. The largest covered bond issuers in ESG last year has been South Korea. So we are in a global platform. We are all together on the same boat. And if we are facing the same challenges, most probably we can find the same solutions. And that's why we really trust that our cooperation is so important for us. What we have as tangible instrument to manage this crisis, allow me to list a few instruments that can help us to give a contribution to our states, to our nations. Well, I'm very glad that together we succeed in having a strong covered bond legislation in Brazil, because nowadays covered bonds are an opportunity for the European governments to channel private capital money into mortgage markets, but also in infrastructural loans. In France, for example, in the last months, we have seen a lot of public sector covered bonds, which is covered bond backed by public sector asset that have been used to support hospitals, to buy health material, to allow hospitals to make their services more efficient. This is a strategic infrastructure for our states. This is a strategic investment for our middle class. And allow me to bring you to the third pillar of our activities, which is social mobility. The financial sector has been always a driver to ensure social mobility, to provide to the middle class opportunities, to allow a young person to buy a house, also if he's not coming from a rich family, but he can borrow, anticipate richness and a wealth to buy a house and give a better future to their kids. At the end of the day, this is the challenge that we have in front of us, building a new revolution, which will change the value chain of our economy, making our economy more fit for the nature. I think that we are changing completely our paradigm. What is good for nature is good for us and is good for the economy. That's the new paradigm. Are we ready? Well, we have to prepare ourselves. We have to work together. We have working groups where Felipe is playing a very active role, bringing the experience for Brazil, giving us ideas of how we can design a model which will be helping countries also with different characteristics from the European ones. So we are very grateful for you to help us in opening our eyes and understand what are the challenges for the other countries. We hope really that we can see each other very soon. The ECBC and the European Mortgage Federation appreciate a lot your contribution, and we really hope that we can have a nice meeting very soon, either in Europe, either in Singapore, or maybe, why not, in Brazil very soon. Please stay safe, protect your family, and bring your best ideas to design a new world. The financial stakeholders have a big responsibility of being the engine for our upcoming season. I cannot imagine a renaissance without Lorenzo il Magnifico, the most important banker of Florence. The Renaissance was an extremely important moment for the European history, which brought innovation, technological development, beauty, Just if you walk in Florence or in Venice or in Bruges or in Paris, you can recognize how important it was the Renaissance. Let's build together the infrastructure for building a new green Renaissance for our world, for our global community. And let's work together for this common target, common scope. Thank you very much, Cristiane and Felipe, for the kind invitation and for all the good work that you are doing under our umbrella. Thank you very much again. Obrigado. I think that the ESG is impacting the price for consumer, for lenders, and for investors. Since 10 years, the European Commission has implemented a new regulation in Europe where there is an obligation of giving an energy performance certification, which is called EPC. So every consumer has a clear view, like when you buy a fridge, when you buy a car, of what is the energy consumption. And this is now in the perception of the mind of the consumer. So the energy performance certification is a proxy of the running cost of the house. So when you rent a house, you know that if you take a house, you will spend much less than if you buy or if you rent a house, which is a C, D, or E. So this is changing the mentality of the consumer. Everyone wants to push their EPC, the certification, up on the scale in order to improve the value of their house. This is important for the lenders because most probably we are lobbying for this. We will change the capital charges for mortgages in function of the energy performance of the house. And then investors are looking to ESG as key parameters for their investment. Just to let you know, a lot of asset managers cannot invest anymore in asset without ESG information. So the pricing is changing for consumers, for lenders, and for investors. That's why we think that we need to be at the forefront of this discussion. Liam, the floor is yours.
Nos últimos anos, a Agência Europeia Ambiental tem baixado novas normas para a construção de imóveis que afetam tanto o emprestador, o tomador do empréstimo e a pessoa que vai alugar ou comprar a casa. Muito em demanda hoje em dia é o certificado de desempenho ambiental, ou seja, quem comprar uma casa que tiver um documento, uma certificação de performance, de desempenho ambiental, terá certeza de que está comprando um imóvel cujo desempenho ambiental, em termos de gastos, que nem sua geladeira, ou sua TV tela plana, ou esses novos bens de consumo, terá um desempenho muito melhor, o que reduzirá o custo de manutenção. E isso é interessante para os tomadores, porque isso reduz o custo do financiamento da casa própria ou do imóvel. E, além disso, as empresas, os gestores, os asset management companies, não podem mais comprar papéis ou títulos de empresas imobiliárias que lançam projetos e que não tenham essa certificação de desempenho ambiental. Ou seja, o benefício é para todo mundo, o tomador, o emprestador, o credor e também a empresa que constrói o imóvel. Todos ganham. E com isso, nós estamos criando um mercado muito mais atraente para todos os participantes. E nós, no European Mortgage Association, Associação Europeia de Hipotecas, nós estamos liderando esse processo para melhorar cada vez mais.
Well, the sustainability and digitalization are the two major drivers of the entire recovery plan or Green Deal of the European Commission. The European Commission has created a huge safety net on where the states cannot support their economies. This is done by monetary policy intervention and fiscal support coming directly from the European Commission. All these, so technically the European Commission is giving money to member states for long-term investment on sustainability. This big project is called European Recovery Plan, and every member state should invest more than 1/3 of this money only on sustainability. So I will say that this is the new strategic view of the European Commission. Whatever is not green has no chance to survive in the long term under the new strategy of the European Commission. We know that Europe is the first country, but I will suspect that the new American administration will not be very far away. Joe Biden has already clearly mentioned that they will rejoin the Paris Agreement, and Europe, I think, will be in good company very soon to support this effort for energy efficiency and sustainability. Thank you.
Bom, hoje em dia, a sustentabilidade e a digitalização são os dois principais drivers, impulsionadores desse novo plano de recuperação na Europa, o chamado Green Deal, o Acordo Verde. O que a Comissão Europeia está fazendo? Ele está ajudando os estados e as nações financeiramente para, através da sua política monetária e fiscal, para facilitar que esses estados e empresas, estados e países europeus investam no longo prazo. E esse dinheiro que os governos recebem, eles são obrigados a investir um terço em atividades ou atuações de sustentabilidade dentro da nova estratégia da Comissão Europeia. Ou seja, se a coisa não for verde, não vai sobreviver, não vai ser nem considerado. E nós acreditamos também que, embora essa iniciativa europeia a primeira, não será por muito tempo. Acreditamos que o novo governo americano logo abraçará essa iniciativa. O presidente eleito Biden já disse isso, que ele vai incluir novamente os Estados Unidos no Acordo de Paris. E isso vai ser bom para todo mundo, na Europa, nos Estados Unidos e no resto do mundo.
I just wanted to say that the impact on the housing market is quite important. We see renting price going down quite importantly in Europe. In the major cities, London, Paris, renting price is going down of 10%. Quite surprisingly, the housing price is stable or rising in Europe. So it means that the Europeans we don't see yet the impact on COVID on the house pricing. Which I think is a similar trend in all the world. Surprisingly, housing pricing is remaining stable. Now, we don't know what will happen in the next crisis, but we are here to build solutions, and we need you. We need you, so please let's stay close as much as we can, and let's build a new future for our kids all together.
Bom, interessante que o impacto na Europa do COVID-19, de fato, não tem afetado os preços dos imóveis, que estão estáveis ou aumentando. E, de fato, estamos vendo também uma queda nos aluguéis. Isso é muito bom sinal, ou seja, o impacto no preço dos imóveis não tem sido muito forte. Ou seja, o mercado continua forte e isso parece ser uma tendência global. Agora, o que vai acontecer na próxima crise, temos que esperar para ver. É por isso que nós precisamos estarmos juntos cada vez mais, trabalhando juntos. Esse é nosso desafio e vamos juntos criar essa nova revolução no mercado mundial imobiliário.